The pandemic has made targets out of public health leaders, targets of scrutiny and criticism, totally fair, targets of threats and harassment, not cool. Today, one of the most controversial public health leaders in Colorado announced she's resigning. Jeffco Public Health Director Dawn Comstock's out. It's a 2-hour closed-door meeting with Jeffco Board of Health today. No reporters or public inside. Comstock came out and she resigned. She's only in the job for a year. She followed Mark Johnson, who'd held that position for 30 years, and delayed his retirement to serve through the first year of the pandemic. Comstock was frequently criticized by conservatives who said she was too willing to adopt mask mandates. Douglas County commissioners are fighting again, like when I hear my kids arguing in the other room over a toy. Commissioners cannot agree on who should be in charge. Laura Thomas was originally the board chair, but her fellow commissioners, George Teal and Abe Layden, voted to remove her as chair in April of last year for reasons that are still not clear. After some backlash, they agreed that they would play nice and they would share being in charge each month. Thomas is the board chair for the month of February. It's her month. The newest issue among the board members is that the other commissioners don't think that she should be in charge of any meetings dealing with the county's renewable water resources project. She just issued a statement last month saying that she opposes using aid dollars from the federal government for a project to bring water up from the San Luis Valley. The other commissioners say that makes her too biased to be in charge of those meetings, so they want Layden to run them instead.
I just want everybody to understand, we've had this discussion. I am the chair for the month of February, and what you are doing is saying that I'm not going to be the chair for the next discussion.
You want to fight, or do you want to work? You want to work, and let Abe run the RWR meetings, and we move along. You want to fight, Laura? You've got your fight. You've got your gladiatorial audience right here.
That's us. That's us, I guess. Anyway, she's outvoted 2-1, so somebody else is going to run the meetings on that project. Students in Douglas County were out of class for more than an hour today protesting the firing of Douglas School Superintendent Corey Wise on Friday. Students walked out of class across the district, including these students here at Highlands Ranch High School. The school board's conservative majority voted on Friday to fire Wise. They couldn't come up with a reason, so they fired him without cause. Since then, Douglas School District says there are 3 school teachers who have said that they quit. And people outraged by the board's move are already talking about the idea of a recall. 7 years ago, 3 conservative board members were recalled and replaced in Jefferson County over their efforts to influence curriculum. Our Steve Steger looked into whether the blueprint the Democrats used there would work in more conservative Douglas County.
The vote passes.
Let's start with the obvious.
Arguably, it's a little bit more challenging to remove conservative or right-leaning members of a Douglas County school board because Douglas County does lean Republican.
David Flaherty is a pollster for the right-leaning Magellan Strategies in Colorado. He says any efforts to recall newly elected school board members is going to be an uphill battle in Dougco, even with that online petition that's garnered more than 22,000 signatures.
You need money to make this happen. You need momentum and grassroots support and a want, desire to do that.
Money and momentum, like in 2015 when 3 conservative members of the Jeffco School Board were recalled and replaced.
And there was enough belief and energy out there that the conservative school board members at the time were out of touch with the will of parents and voters in general of Jefferson County.
Flaherty says there are differences here, though. First, our politics have changed dramatically since 2015. Second,
really triggered Jeffco was a change in the curriculum that was very alarming to center-left folks.
The removal of a popular superintendent is different.
I don't know if that's going to have the same emotional sort of, heft, if you will.
He's not ready to predict a result of a political effort that can't even begin until late May under state law. But he says you can't count out the blue in school board issues, even in deep red Douglas County.
I think the bright spot for Democrat and progressive organization is that they have had success in Douglas County in a different environment, but still had success of gaining a majority.
Under state law, you can't recall someone until they have served in their elected role for 6 months. It would take 15,000 signatures from registered voters in Dougco to even begin the recall process against any of these school board members. And even if that was successful, it would likely mean the recall would be on the November ballot, which will be packed with statewide issues. Though Flaherty says Colorado voters, they tend to pay attention even when their ballot is jam-packed full of stuff. They pay a lot of attention to local issues. So that could play here if you have enough center left folks who are going to be drawn out to vote in something like this.
Oh, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I've only covered politics in Colorado for like 10 years or so. But the idea of trying to recall conservative school board members in a conservative county in what is likely to be a Republican wave year seems about as useful as like sticking your hand in a wood chipper.
Flaherty, though, says he's not sure that the Republican wave that we expect to see
nationwide
across the rest of the country will apply here in Colorado, just because Colorado, he says, tends to play a different game when it comes to that. So that could be interesting to watch, though he does say, yeah, it does create an uphill battle, something that anyone who's going to try to lead a recall effort, should there be one, will have to consider in something like this.
There's a lot of churn in that community right now. People are really upset about the superintendent going. That said, the board's going to be making more decisions over the next 1, 3, 6 months, couple of years. So it's not like issues are going to go away in terms of like, can the level of churn be sustained by the people who want to see change?
Yeah, I was actually curious. I asked David Flaherty, do you lose momentum because you have to wait until May here, right?
Yeah.
You can't recall anybody until May. Is some of that momentum going to go away? He says no, and it'll likely become a bigger issue as this board continues to make more decisions over the next few months. People may see them as slanted one way, which would fuel another effort like that. But again, like you said, it's going to be difficult to do in a year when we do expect a lot of Republican turnout, especially in a place like Douglas County.
All right, Steve, thank you. When the Adams County Sheriff took viewers on a live-streamed police chase end of last month, he had a passenger riding along with him. So that now brings into question 2 policies that the sheriff himself may have violated. Marshall Zellinger compares the video to the rules.
Hold on. Let's see if we got a pursuit going.
Okay. When Adams County Sheriff Rick Reigenborn live-streamed from his unmarked car with a ride-along passenger on January 29th, he involved himself in a chase. He was at 58th and Washington. The vehicle in the pursuit was 6.5 miles away.
6677th Avenue.
Buckle up. Here we go.
Based on the Adams County Sheriff's Office ride-along policy, the ride-along passenger should have been dropped off before the sheriff joined. If practicable, the participant should be let out of the vehicle in a safe, well-lighted place. Not only was he not let out, the ride-along helped direct the sheriff.
You are clear, right?
The pursuit entered Denver and was called off because the person behind the wheel started driving on the wrong side of the road.
And unfortunately, that's one of their tactics, is they'll drive on the wrong side of the road so that we won't pursue them.
The sheriff kept following without lights and sirens. The ride-along passenger kept helping guide the sheriff.
There he is.
Where?
On the next block. Go through the alley, go through the alley.
Ultimately, the sheriff would park the car and run after the driver, and he caught him. When it was over, he talked about what's normally supposed to happen when a pursuit is called off.
We typically turn and go the other way. With us being in an unmarked car, and with me being the sheriff, we turned our emergency lights off. We resumed back to normal traffic laws, and
Observed.
we observed from a distance.
Based on the Adams County Sheriff's Office pursuit policy, the sheriff probably should not have joined even without a ride-along passenger. Distinctively marked patrol vehicles should replace unmarked vehicles involved in a pursuit whenever practicable. The sheriff said he was busy today and couldn't talk to me about his live stream. I emailed a number of questions to him about the policy and why he chose to involve himself in that chase. I did not get a response so far. A question I have is who would investigate if the sheriff did violate his own policies? Kyle, I spoke with a few sheriffs who tell me ultimately it requires a complaint and that any results of an investigation would be given back to the sheriff to impose.
Think about what you've done. No, that's my big question, though, when it's the person in charge who is accused of violating the policies. Think about like what President Nixon told David Frost. You know, if the president does it, then it's not illegal.
It ultimately comes down to voters because the sheriff answers to voters. It's not like the county commissioners can come in and do anything or anyone else because the sheriff is an elected leader. And so it would be investigated, could be investigated if there's a complaint. But ultimately, I'm told the results will be like, hey, we think this person did X. Sheriff, here's the punishment we recommend. But it's the sheriff you're talking about in that situation.
And again, Marshall, why has it been so difficult to figure out who the sheriff's wingman is?
We got a name. The name is Tim, a former radio guy from the sheriff's office. We think there's a misspelling of the last name we were given because we think we know enough about this person, and that'll be coming this week. Hopefully we can confirm who it is and talk more about this ride-along passenger.
All right. Marshall, thank you. Next always roots for Team USA plus one underdog. This year's long shots would seem to have some natural winter sports talent, just no medals to show for it. A next viewer wonders if the high price of ski resort parking is the reason that people are just abandoning their vehicles on the streets. Could this actually be a cheaper way to park and ski, even with the ticket? Next. If you joined Next during the Summer Olympics, which were like 3 weeks ago, you know that we rooted for Team USA plus an underdog country. It's more fun that way, and Liberia came so close to winning their first ever medal in the Summer Games. For these Winter Games, the underdog seems like a country that you should have some winter sports success. I mean, if you haven't won a single Winter Olympics medal, can you really call yourself Iceland? They've been in every post-war Olympic Games but one. Iceland's never won a stinking medal. Play that beautiful Icelandic national anthem. And there's her face. That is Lofshunkur, Icelandic for him. So let's meet the athletes now. Two competing early tomorrow morning on the USA Network at 1 a.m. our time. That's Kristrún Gudnadóttir, competing in the cross-country skiing women's individual sprint. First Olympics. She's one of the flag bearers for the opening ceremony. Then 1:50 a.m. tomorrow, it's Isak Stiansen Pedersen, competing in the men's cross-country skiing individual sprint, already won the gold as the easiest name to pronounce of the 5 Olympians. Poor guy did not come within visual distance of the medal stand at his last Olympics, finished 52nd. Love the name Sturla Snare Snorsson. Nope, that's not Sturla. Nope, we've got the wrong picture up. I apologize. He is competing in alpine men's skiing, competed in the slalom and the giant slalom in Pyeongchang. Didn't finish either race, and we didn't show his correct picture here. So it's insult on top of injury for Snor. You know, Iceland came to Beijing with 5 athletes competing. 2 of them lost their events and they're done, which you might think means that I don't have to say their names, but I'm told I have to say their names. Snorri Andersen finished 29th in the men's 30-kilometer skiathon. Hólfríður Friðjónsdóttir failed to finish her event this morning. That was the women's alpine giant slalom. Holding on hope, though, for Iceland's first Winter Olympics medal. Also hoping somebody out there speaks Icelandic and can help with the names. One more thing. I ordered one flag on the internet, and they sent me 25. So if anybody would like to root for Iceland with us, just email me your address. I'm going to send them out tonight. It doesn't matter. My wife just wants them out of the house.
What a Monday. In February, clear skies, lots of sunshine, and temperatures in the 50s. This warming trend will kick off the week, but we are tracking a storm for the middle part of the week that will at least bring some mountain snow. Highs today running 5 to 10 degrees above average, and this is a trend that we'll see off and on for the majority of the week. Few high clouds coming in with a dry front that rolls through tomorrow. A second front comes through on Wednesday. It'll bring a little bit of mountain snow, but for Denver, lots of sunshine, and that means a quiet weather pattern. So fair skies, lows in the upper 20s tonight. Sunshine tomorrow, 50 in Denver. Snow showers on Wednesday. Warmer weather for us Thursday, and a 30% chance of snow showers on Friday, heading into a mild and dry weekend.
Your latest Word of Thanks campaign has raised more than $50,000 to help some of our neighbors who are determined to bounce back quickly from not having a place to live. Homeless, they hope, for a short time. Your donations are helping Hope of Longmont's Safe Lot program, which provides a safe overnight parking space, along with hot meals in the morning, hot showers, and even this, because so many people who are living in their cars and in need of safe parking spaces have pets. They provide daycare for the pets during the day so that folks can go out, earn a paycheck, and hope to get back into housing quickly. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to be part of this goodness. More than $50,000 raised for a program that has quite the success rate of helping people transition through a couple of weeks where they don't have a place to live. We're getting some feedback on our coverage of a parking crunch at a ski area. This up at Winter Park. With the ski area's lots packed, people were just leaving their vehicles on the side of Winter Park Drive, where parking is not allowed. So police were going by and writing each driver an après-ski ticket. A viewer, though, trying to play smarter, not harder, asked if maybe getting the ticket for parking on the public street was actually cheaper than parking in the ski area lot. Perhaps at some resorts, but we checked. Winter Park has more than 3,000 free parking spaces at the base of Winter Park and Mary Jane. They do have paid parking there as well, but we looked up the price, and it's cheaper than the tickets for the people who parked illegally on the streets.
Missing the geese, the honking, the pooping. They're gone from Superior and Louisville. Next viewer asks if they're going to return post-fire. Now, I heard lots of people making fun of Frontier Airlines merging with Spirit today. I, for one, am excited to strap on a helmet and goggles and pay $6 for a seat out on the wing. That's next.
Frontier Airlines and Spirit usually occupy 2 spaces near the bottom of America's airline rankings, but not anymore. They're going to merge, so it'll be just 1 space near the bottom of the airline rankings. The combined company will be 51% controlled by Frontier, unless Spirit wants to pay a $20 upcharge to control the company. That's not, I wasn't serious, that's a joke. The $20 upcharge is if you want a seatbelt. If approved by federal regulators, Frontier and Spirit will combine to create America's 5th largest airline with the single largest customer complaint inbox in aviation history.
Tonight's next question comes to us from Sherry. She lives in Superior and says, it seems right now that most of the geese are gone. She wondered if the Marshall Fire has ruined their habitat in the area. Sherry told us she never thought she'd miss the geese.
Good news for Sherry, maybe not for everybody else, but the geese should be coming back. Colorado Parks and Wildlife told us hasn't heard of geese being killed off in the fire, so chances are they just skedaddled. They've moved someplace more hospitable, and they're likely to return later this year as their natural habitat is restored to normal. We will find expert answers on anything. More bird questions if you're so inclined, whatever you like. Record your question on voice or video, email it to next@9news.com. So, retired guide dog reunited with the family who raised him. That is something that isn't horrible, so it's perfect for our segment called Here's Something That Isn't Horrible. Next.
Hi, I'm next producer Kevin Larson. We aren't showing Olympic highlights here because of network restrictions, but if you're into that sort of thing, check out the Olympic Zone with Tom Green after next at 5:30.
And now, because you made it through this newscast, here's something that's not horrible. Meet Laser, recently retired from Guide Dogs of the Blind, had to call it quits due to injury. Mary and her family raised him and trained him, and they offered to take him back for his retirement years. Laser remembered them, and they remembered how much he loved snow as a puppy. Still does. He loved last week. Some things don't change, including Laser's work helping people, so his family plans to get him certified as a therapy dog. Regarding the mystery of the missing geese in the area of the Marshall Fire, Marilyn writes in, they're in Fort Collins. Mark writes, they're at the Fort Lupton Golf Course. I think we get the idea. Henry writes in to say, I ordered 1 little gas cap for my 2-gallon gas can, got a dozen. My wife wants them gone. We'll trade you for that cool flag. No, I'm not going to do that, Henry, because then I would have the gas cap that I don't need, and then my wife would want the gas cap gone. The idea is to get stuff out of my house. Listen, I think like a couple hundred of you asked for an Icelandic flag. I've got like 20 extras, but I will mail them out tonight. Michael says, this show with Kyle Clark needs to go. Would love to discuss this face-to-face. Michael, this isn't high school. We don't fight people to solve our problems. Just change the channel. See you next time.